So we meet again. Another week, another nerf. But don't worry, with that we've got major buffs to all the new weapons, allowing the FAMAS to fill in the power vacuum that the FCAR left behind. Also in this week's patch, we've got cash out being added back, the removal of unranked tournaments, a new LTM called Bunny Bash, Battle Pass XP balance changes, Quest XP buffs, and lastly a major bug and flaw in our new rank system that you all need to be aware of. And I'm not talking about the fact that we just can't see progression. So if you found this video informative, please smash that like button. It's a small button for you, but it means the world to me. Also subscribe for all things to finals. I left timestamps down below so you can skip to your topic of interest. Let's cut the bullshit and jump straight into it. So first things first, Embark is planning to switch all PC display names to Embark IDs soon, to make connecting with your friends a little easier. If you want to make any changes to your Embark ID display before the switch, you can do so by going to the Embark portal. These changes will not cause you to lose any progress or friends on your social page and will not affect console players at all. Now, on to the weapon balance changes. Let's be honest, the one we all came here for and the one you guys probably skipped to, which is probably going to do a number to my ad revenue, but fuck it. Up first, we have the KS-23 heavy shotgun. Here's some footage of the changes in the background for both aiming down sights as well as hip fire, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. We have an increase in fire rate from 55 RPM to 73 RPM, decreased player damage from 120 to 100, increased environmental damage from 600 to 700, increased pump action animation duration from 0.6 seconds to 0.7 seconds, increased damage fall off start range from 15 meters to 18 meters, increased damage fall off end range from 50 meters to 23 meters, increased the damage fall off multiplier at max range from 0.4 to 0.6, meaning it does more damage at range. Increasing projectile speed from 200 meters to 300 meters, meaning players need to lead targets less now. Decreased bullet dispersion when firing from the hip while crouching, standing, and running, making the weapon more accurate and reliable. So I'll admit the shotgun feels multitudes better than it did before the patch. From close to mid-range, if you're aiming down sights, it's pretty much hit scan, being that there's very little leading you need to do when firing the weapon. But obviously at farther ranges, you're going to have to lead your shots, but I doubt any of you will be trying to snipe with the shotgun. The hip fire is good, but still not as consistent or powerful as the automatic shotgun, as it should be, because they both serve different purposes. The major benefit I see with the KS-23 shotgun is the fact that now we can quickly shoot 3 shots into a wall or floor and breach target locations. This is absolutely huge, because for those of you that are relying on C4 to perform that task, you can rely on the KS-23 instead and potentially replace C4 with something that is more appropriate or useful for your team's comp. My only concern is if players are willing to take the very little time needed to be efficient with this weapon, or will they stick with the easy to use SA-1216? Because if you're willing to sacrifice the environmental damage that the KS-23 can offer, you still have an easy to use S tier weapon that can shred through any class. I'm actually very interested to see how the heavy meta plays out in the next few weeks. Next, we have yet another nerf to the FCAR. With adjusted recoil pattern to make the weapon slightly less easy to control, as you can see in the background footage, decrease the damage fall off multiplier at max range from 0.67 to 0.5, meaning it does less damage at long range. In my opinion, I don't think it needed the damage fall off multiplier to be lowered any more than it has been, because it is indeed an assault rifle, and if you're using appropriate cover and not running in a straight line from far range, no matter what anybody tells you, it is very hard to beam somebody at the ranges you used to be able to. As for the new recoil pattern, I don't think it's that bad. However, the FCAR is a weapon that rewards the player for accuracy and punishes them for missing their shots. This is because of the small magazine size. With that being said, if it's now going to be effective in just about the same ranges as the AKM, why not just use the gun that has the bigger magazine size? If both recoil patterns are similar in difficulty, where does that leave the FCAR when compared to the AKM, with its huge margin for error at optimal ranges? And when compared to the newly buffed, and I'm going to say it right now, meta FAMAS, with ranges that can now far exceed the FCAR, as well as essentially horizontal recoil, it doesn't really allow the FCAR to shine in just about any area. But I only can speculate so much, we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Next, we have the FAMAS, and as we mentioned before, we have a new recoil pattern as you see in the background footage, with an adjusted recoil pattern to make the weapon slightly easier to use. And I'll tell you right now, after playing with this weapon literally half asleep because I needed to get footage for this video before heading into work, the word slightly is a bit of an understatement. This weapon is meta, period. It is just as accurate and easy to control as the FCAR was in its prime, with the range to match. And as you can see with this gameplay, enough said. Now we're on the 93R with an increase of the fire rate from 240 to 260 RPM. Now in the background footage here, you'll see the new fire rate. I can feel the difference, but I can't really visually tell the difference. And after using it in a few matches, I can say it'll give the V9S a run for its money, but in my opinion, the V9S is still better and more efficient to use. What I mean by efficient is once you eliminate a target, you can stop firing immediately. With the 93R, you are forced to shoot 3 bullets from your magazine, even if you only needed 1 to 2 bullets to down your target. This will drastically decrease your ability to get out of an engagement against multiple targets alive, being that you are most likely going to have to reload after eliminating 1. And lastly, we have the glitch trap and grenade effect reduced from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, which is a fair trade-off for the ability to nullify mesh or dome shields on impact. This is just my opinion, but in terms of weapon balancing, I think that when you start nerfing everything that is powerful in the game, rather than bringing other weapons up and in line with those weapons, you will create a power vacuum. The FAMAS is going to be a great example of this. Now that the FCAR is excessively nerfed, the FAMAS, which is now insanely easy to control, will more than plug that power vacuum the FCAR left behind, leaving you again with one weapon that outperforms the rest, and will inevitably have the same complaints that the FCAR had, leading to the FAMAS getting nerfed in the near future. When you start to nerf everything, rather than bringing other weapons up and in line with the stronger ones, you get a game that is a hollow shell of what it used to be, making it lose what it made it special in the first place. This is not COD, this is not Fortnite. This game is chaotic fun, where each moment was more unpredictable than the last. And that's why we fell in love with it in the first place. I understand that weapon balancing for devs is a very fine line to tread on. However, I've seen this vicious cycle happen to Destiny 2, and I would hate to see it happen here. Now we're going to go through all the changes and bug fixes. I don't want to waste your time and only go through the ones that will make a major impact on your gameplay or experience. So I'm going to run through this and fill you in with all the important stuff. First of all, we have the daily quest reward XP being increased from 500 to 1000. Next, the dematerializer highlight will be more visible. I really wish that they made seeing through the dematerializer a little easier, but hey, maybe next patch, right? As for the UI changes, the important ones to note are fixing the correct clip size info for the KS23, fix the issue on the gamepad, preventing players from scrolling the contact list in the end of the round summary, fix an issue where the cash box icon could start out invisible. As for maps, for Soul, they fixed an issue where players can spawn separately from their team. That pissed me off. Thankfully, it is now fixed. As for Skyway Stadium, they tweaked spawns to reduce spawn camping from the office building in the final round. Thank God, it took them long enough. As for the game modes, they added back in cash out, unranked tournaments are now removed, and Bunny Bash is now available as an LTM, which is essentially Power Shift on the new map Horizon with limited specializations, weapons, and gadget selections. But playing it can get you some free, really nice skins. As for the gameplay, they fixed an issue for the zipline when jumping and interacting on the same frame led to instant detaching. Fixed an issue for Charge the Slam where the slam would trigger instead of the charge when close to the ground. A dome shield fix so the outline color is correct. The improved effect for the mesh shield indicating it is about to break. They fixed the glitch grenades so that they don't explode on friendly shields. They added team colors to the outline of the anti-gravity cube. They fixed an issue on the gateway where there was no distance limit for the gadget. They fixed an issue for the defib where abilities could be activated, as well as an issue where players could be stunned and glitched while being revived. As for spawning, they increased the invulnerability for players who just spawned. This does not include revives. Now onto the battle pass. They updated the total XP required to unlock each level to match their intended design. Early levels will now cost 6,000 instead of 9,000 XP. Later levels will now cost 12,000 instead of 9,000 XP. Middle levels remain the same, so don't be surprised if you may unlock new levels right after you play your first match in this update. And that's about it for these patch notes. Alright, so the pressing issue at hand is currently with ranked. If you are at a rank and being honest with yourself and have been getting past the first round on a consistent basis and frequently at least making it to the second and third round, with a few final rounds sprinkled in between that, while not increasing in rank, no, this is not a skill issue as some dipshits on Reddit would have you believe. This is definitely a bug that needs to be fixed. I know this because this season I decided to team up with a buddy of mine and not trying to bash my head into a wall by trying to solo ranked to diamond. Now the funny thing is, since the start of the season we played every single rank match together and share relatively the same combat, objective, and support score at the end of every tournament. But yet when I ranked up to Platinum 4, he remained at Gold 1 after 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 ranked matches, I proceeded to make it to Platinum 3, while he remained at Gold 1. The only way he could get out of it was by quite literally solo queuing and getting past the first round of his match. Then we paired up again and resumed our grind. And guess what happened now? The same thing at Platinum 4, where I am yet again proceeding into Platinum 2, while he still remains stuck. Out of frustration, my teammate is now considering quitting the game because he felt like his time is not being respected, and I don't blame him. This is absolute shit, and should have been acknowledged yesterday and fixed today. This leaves players with an illusion of a goal that is impossible to obtain, when in reality they have been stagnated because of a bug that they can't even prove. Because guess what? There's no way to see progression, leaving these players to go on Reddit and worse yet Discord in the bugs and fixes section looking for help, to have other players say skill issue, and then the mods basically saying the same thing, referring them to the video of Oscar explaining ranked, not even acknowledging this is an issue. As I speak, more and more people are coming out of the woodwork saying that this is happening to them as well. This needs to be fixed ASAP, or players will drop drastically if there's no sense of progression and the goal they seek to accomplish seems unattainable. This is essentially a leak in the hull of a ship that is making you sink extremely fast. Now I understand that there are going to be players that are in absolute denial, thinking that after winning one round in a tournament entitles them to move on to the next rank. But for those of you that are winning tournaments and making it on a consistent basis the later rounds, not ranking up, you are not crazy, as well as not alone. The worst part about this is the only way Embark is going to notice this is if a popular streamer or YouTuber comes out and says something about it, which is definitely not me. Otherwise, they are acting as if nothing is happening and everything is completely fine. And all this system needs is a little bit of tweaks, which at the moment is far from the truth. So I'm sorry for going on a rant. I just don't want to see this game die. And I know a lot of other players feel the same way. That's about it. And as for the rest of the video, I'm just going to show you all the new in-store items. And yeah, if you found this video informative, smash that like button. Again, it means the world to me. And subscribe for all things to finals. Peace and love, guys.